This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by Tilani Pires. $110 million financial assistance from the ADB for Health Systems Enhancement Project in Sri Lanka. Minister Mahinda Amaravira has been appointed as the Vice Chair of the UN Environment Ministers Forum. New policy framework will be made to strengthen the Dhamma school education in Sri Lanka. Committee report on the restructuring the Central Cultural Fund was handed over to the Prime Minister. Administering the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine for children between the ages of 18 and 19 from Monday. Committee report on the restructuring the Central Cultural Fund handed over to the Prime Minister. A committee has been appointed to study the rules and regulations required to develop an integrated system of digital banking. And on international news, Canada mandates vaccines for federal workers. The government has decided to obtain $110 million from the ADB and a grant of $3 million provided by the ADB-managed Japanese Fund for Poverty Reduction. The Finance Ministry said funds will be implemented the additional financing of health system enhancement project in the island. It added in early 2020 with the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. $15 million from the ongoing health projects were reallocated for the emergency activities related to health and COVID prevention issues. In a statement, Finance Ministry said the additional financing will be used to urgent finance requirements to support and manage the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic activities. The relevant loan agreement and grant agreement for the additional financing of health systems enhancement project was signed by the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, S.R. Artigala, on behalf of the Government of Sri Lanka, and Mr. Shen Sheng, Country Director, ADB Resident Mission, on behalf of the ADB today. The Environment Minister Mahinda Amaravira has been appointed as the Vice Chair of the fourth session of the Environment Ministers Forum of the Asia-Pacific Member States of the UN Environment Programme. Minister Amaravira was elected to the Vice Chair post by the Ministers Forum held in Swan City, Korea today. Environment ministers and environmental officials from 47 countries in the Asia-Pacific region represented the conference. The Minister of Environment, Mahinda Amaravira, stated that it is an honour for the country to have this post in Sri Lanka. A new policy framework will be made to strengthen the Dhamma school education in Sri Lanka. State Minister Vijita Berugoda says it will help to maintain all Dhamma schools belonging to all regions at the same standard. The Dhamma school education should be made obligatory and its registration process should also be standardized, he said. The government is also considering providing assistance for the Dhamma school teachers while imposing proper guidelines to adhere when they are recruited. The State Minister also said it is also considered to simplify the contents of the Dhamma school's textbooks in order to avoid exam-oriented Dhamma school education. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
The Vaccine Technical Committee today decided to start administering the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine for children between the ages of 18 and 19 from Monday. The GMO said the decision was taken as the first step in a healthy children's vaccination program. The vaccination rollout will be done at the MOH and in the government hospitals. A proposal was made to the President in this regard by the GMOA at the Vaccination Technical Committee meeting discussion held today. It is reported that the GMOA has proposed to administer the Pfizer vaccine to healthy children between the ages of 15 to 19 years using the same mechanism used by the medical officers throughout the country. The GMOA also pointed out that it is advisable for children suffering from allergies and other diseases to be vaccinated in hospitals under special medical supervision. Meanwhile, it has been recommended to give the third dose of the jab only for those who have been fully jabbed with the Sinopharm vaccine. Deputy Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemant Herat said the fundamental approval has been granted to administer a third dose for those who are 20 years of age and above. He added the vaccination drive of the booster dose would commence over several months, probably early next year. The priority will be given to individuals above 60 and people with comorbidities as decided earlier. The committee report on the restructuring the Central Cultural Fund was handed over to the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at Temple Trees this morning. The 5-member committee was appointed under the guidelines of the Prime Minister, and the committee was chaired by the Director General of the Fisheries Department, Susantha Kahavatta. It was reported several places of tourist interests are controlled by the Central Cultural Fund. Plans are afoot to conserve and develop such places so as to attract more tourism after the pandemic dies down and the country returns to normal. The Central Cultural Fund said the development of the Magul Madu Viharaya in the Ampara district and the diving project along the eastern and southern seabelt will be of immense interest to enable tourists to visit the heritage of Sri Lanka, are specific among the projects. That ends local news for now.
Just as love and freedom are important to a child, so too is knowledge. Encouraging their pursuit of knowledge is our most important responsibility as parents.
Sri Lanka Insurance Mini-Muthu education plans ensure a secure future for your child with a higher education fund, comprehensive protection and a range of additional covers. Mini-Muthu education plans for children who dare to dream. Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vedha Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedha Mahatmya.
The Vaccine Technical Committee today decided to start administering the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine for children between the ages of 18 and 19 from Monday. The GMOA said the decision was taken as the first step in the Healthy Children's Vaccination Program. The vaccination rollout will be done at the MOH and in the government hospitals. A proposal was made to the President in this regard by the GMOA at the Vaccination Technical Committee meeting discussion held today. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedha Mahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watchlight.
And on Watchlight tonight, according to findings presented at Obesity Week, consumers report more consistently considering the negative health effects of drinking soda and other sugary beverages when health warning labels are included in packaging. Displaying health warnings on sugar-sweetened drinks could be an effective way of reducing consumption. They have found a 14.5% decline in consumption among students when warning labels were displayed on drinks in a college cafeteria. They have also said it helped the public understand how sugary drink warnings change behavior. That came to you in Watchlight.
World News.
The headlines are first, Canada mandates vaccines for federal workers. A new report alleges Croatia, Greece, Romania illegally pushing refugee bags. Novelist Abdul Razak Gurna is awarded the Nobel Prize. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says federal employees will be required to get the COVID-19 vaccinations or be put on unpaid leave. Under the policy, federal employees will be required to declare their vaccination status by October 29th. Medical or religious exemptions will be subject to strict conditions. The mandate applies to workers in major federal government departments, including police personnel, as well as federal contractors and those working from home. Canadian public broadcaster CBC estimates that the mandate will cover 267,000 workers. Air and train passengers will also have to show proof of full vaccination, and negative PCR test results will not be accepted from December 1st. Trudeau described the measures as some of the strongest in the world, but he told reporters that this is not the time for half measures when it comes to keeping people safe and avoiding lockdowns. A new report alleges Croatia, Greece and Romania have carried out hundreds of illegal refugee pushback operations at the European Union's external borders since early 2020. The findings, published on Wednesday by the Amsterdam-based investigative news organization Lighthouse Reports, reveal that masked security forces and police units in the EU member states have repeatedly taken coordinated clandestine action to prevent asylum seekers from crossing their borders. The allegations add to concerns among rights groups which have been documenting an intensified use of pushbacks and slammed the EU's alleged complicity. Under international and EU human rights laws, it is illegal for states to automatically expel people without assessing their circumstances. EU law also guarantees the right to seek asylum. Novelist Abdul Razak Gurnah has been named the winner of this year's Nobel Literature Prize. Gurnah was born in 1948 and grew up on the island of Zanzibar off the coast of East Africa. He arrived in Britain as a refugee in the late 1960s. He began writing at the age of 21. Although Swahili was his first language, he wrote in English. He has published 10 novels and a number of short stories, and the theme of the refugees' disruption runs throughout his work. Gurnah was a professor of post-colonial literature at the University of Kent in Canterbury until his recent retirement. The Swedish Academy praised Gurnah for his uncompromising and compassionate penetration of the effects of colonialism and the fate of the refugees in the Gulf between cultures and continents. Back to the world news headlines. Canada mandates vaccines for federal workers. A new report alleges Croatia, Greece, Romania illegally pushing refugees back. Novelist Abdul Razak Gurnah is awarded the Nobel Prize. That ends World News.
And now in development news.
The Asian Development Bank's ADB Director General for South Asia, Kenichi Yokoyama, met with Sri Lanka President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to express its support for the country's development and its COVID-19 vaccination drive. He said the pandemic created a difficult environment for the country, with the loss of lives and livelihoods among those working in small and medium-sized enterprises, tourism and in the informal economy. He said Sri Lanka has made remarkable progress on expanding vaccination, and this will reduce negative impacts of the pandemic and support a faster return to more normal economic activity. That came to you in Development News.
Sports news.
Sri Lanka won by 19 runs at the first T20 practice match played between Sri Lanka and Oman at the Al Amarat Stadium today. Oman won the toss and elected to bat. Sri Lanka scored 164 for 4 wickets and Oman could only score 143 for 8 wickets. According to analysts, this series would serve as important match practice for both these sides ahead of the T20 World Cup, which begins on October 17th and is to be played in Oman and the UAE. It said Sri Lanka have struggled in recent times, but their performance against India and South Africa at home is something to take note of. Despite their batting struggling to make an impact, the bowling department has been in good form. They might have lost the series against India and South Africa, but they surely possess a lot of talent to make an impact in the World Cup, they added. That came to you in Sports News.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency through NSBU Trust for 6 months consecutively. Send more money and increase the chances of winning.
This was news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Non-Executive Director Yudhistran UD Kanagasabi has been appointed as the chairman of the Dankotua Porcelain PLC. UD served as the chairman of the Board Audit Committee of Ceylon Tobacco Company PLC, Eastern Brothers Exports Limited, and Millennium IT ESP Limited, and as an independent non-executive director of Kyrgyz Ceylon PLC, Hunter and Company PLC, and Lanka Canneries Limited. He is also a non-executive director of Kyrgyz Food Company Limited and Kyrgyz Bank Limited, and chairman of South Asia Textiles Limited. UD Kangasamy is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka. That came to you in Business News.
This was news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, the Cuban ambassador to Sri Lanka, Andre Marcelo Gonzalez Garrido, called on Plantation Industries Minister Dr. Ramesh Pathirana yesterday. They have discussed strengthening the Sri Lankan economy and boosting Sri Lanka's exports. The ambassador described Ceylon tea as a major global brand which has great potential to enhance its export market. The ambassador said the people have great acceptance for Ceylon tea and that it has much potential to be promoted there. Ambassador Garrido also admired the coconut cultivation industry in Sri Lanka and suggested a knowledge exchange with Cuba's cocoa and coffee cultivation industry. That was economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report.
The Met Department says showers or thundershowers may occur at a few places in the eastern and over provinces during the afternoon or night. Wind speed can be increased up to 50 kilometers per hour at times in the western slopes of the Central Hills, northern and north-central provinces and in the Trincomalee district. Several spells of showers will occur in the western Sabragamur, central and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. That was the weather report. And now to in this news broadcast, the main points once again. $110 million financial assistance from the ADB for Health Systems Enhancement Project in Sri Lanka. Minister Mahinda Amaraveera has been appointed as the Vice Chair of the UN Environment Ministers Forum. New policy framework will be made to strengthen the Dhamma school education in Sri Lanka. Committee report on the restructuring of the Central Cultural Fund was handed over to the Prime Minister. Administering the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine for children between the ages of 18 and 19 from Monday. Committee report on the restructuring the Central Cultural Fund handed over to the Prime Minister. A committee has been appointed to study the rules and regulations required to develop an integrated system of digital banking. And on international news, Canada mandates vaccines for federal workers. That ends this news broadcast.